Hello everyone. Okay, so as usual, I'm gonna start this video by reading a little message that someone sent to me, a comment, and this was a comment. This was a public comment. I remember now from Wecky Woof on Instagram, and this really made me smile. She said, "Your art always brings a smile to my face. You have that wacky cartoon style, and it's amazing." So yeah, that made me really happy. Thank you so much for that one. I love to read messages just to start off these art dump videos, because it's just like a nice bit of positivity, and also because I just feel like I've got to show my appreciation for the lovely things that people say to me, because it's lovely. And as it's April, it was Easter this month, as we all know. So this is a bit of Easter art, and there is a bit of a story behind this. I had this idea that maybe the week before Easter, I would start an art raffle in which I get people to, like, usually when I do a raffle, I say, "Show me your OC, and if you win, I'll draw it for you." That's usually how my art raffles go. And yeah, so for this one, as like an Easter special, I said that I would draw their OC in a bunny costume, and this was Lexi. She was the winner of this one. I just want to read the I want to get the get Twitter. Here we go. This is always the it always slows it down when sorry, I'm just what I'm doing is I'm going on Twitter to make sure I can read the Twitter names. Yeah, Rosenia Arts on Twitter. That's the one you got, at Rosenia Arts. Lexi Rosine. I never know. I'm really bad at names. Anyway, so this character is Alorna. That's the name of her OC. So she nominated Alorna for this art raffle. And one of the things that I said as part of the instructions for the art raffle, I asked everyone to include a picture of their OC and say if just describe how the character would feel if they had to wear a bunny costume. And yeah, so Lexi told me that Alorna would probably not enjoy it, and I just wanted to know that so that I knew what kind of expression to draw, what kind of mood the character would be in. So yeah, that's obviously where I went with that. Once again, I didn't bother reading the dialogue because I'm guessing you can read. So oh, now who's this? Because this was an art trade, and then once again I have to remind myself to get, because this was on Instagram, so now I have to switch to Instagram. Yeah, Dio, that's the name of this character, created by Morg. You can find Morg at blackened.88. So yeah, and yeah, I think we've been following each other, and yeah, this just was part of an art trade, and I don't know much else. Oh yeah, because I'm not very good at drawing wings, so this year I have been getting into the habit of actually making use of references, because that is a really important thing, and I'm really starting to see why a lot of artists often say that references are important. And so I found some pictures from the Disney Gargoyles TV show, because I kind of figured when I looked at the reference that I was given, I was thinking, how am I going to make this look like the kind of thing that I, because I I think once I'd drawn the body of the character, I thought, yeah, it'll probably look like that in my style. The thing is, I didn't want to draw the wings in my style because up until that point, kind of bat-like wings were not my forte. But then I was like, yeah, I've got to give myself something to work off. So yeah, I looked up some pictures from gargoyles, and yeah, I think that really helped me to understand what kind of wing shape would look good with this character. I mean, again, because I was sort of doing it in a different style to the original. So yeah, this one, because I think, was it the last, I think it was in the previous video, I talked about a challenge that I set. It was one of those draw this in your style challenges. So I had this random OC that I came up with, and I still haven't drawn that character again. It's really, I think it is just going to be a one-off. But yeah, a lot of people took part, and I was really happy with all the different versions of the character that I saw, and I didn't really have the heart to say, okay, I'll pick 4 winners or anything like that. I decided I was going to make everybody a winner, because they'd all gone to the effort of drawing my character. So again, right, I've got to make sure I'm getting the names right. This was by Christine, and I always forget the oh dear. Right, yeah, My Melody of the Heart on Twitter. If you look that up, yeah, that's basically what you need. And yeah, so she requested that I draw a picture of Staria turning her into a giraffe, because I kind of just for the prizes, I was like, yeah, just any request you might like, as long as it's safe for work, then I'll be happy to do that. Yeah, and I think because what she actually said was she wanted a picture of Staria turning her into an animal of some description, and she let me decide what animal. And yeah, I think I was mostly thinking of what animals haven't we seen from Staria yet, because I've had her turning various people's OCs into different characters, different animals. And yeah, so I was thinking, are there any animals we haven't seen yet? And I realised she hasn't done a giraffe yet. And I don't draw a lot of giraffes, so I suppose I'm quite happy with how this looks, considering it's a bit out of my comfort zone. And yeah, this month I've done quite a lot of art for other people, and I've given myself a lot of work to do, so these all kind of look okay. I just haven't really put an enormous amount of effort into any of them, but I think I like how her expression is on this one, and I just thought, because I like this idea that Staria is very mischievous and a bit of a rascal, so she gets a lot of fun out of doing these things, and yeah, her victims don't often seem very happy with that. Okay, now this character, I kind of like this character, so I've been coming up with various different characters for this this world, which is like I'm calling it the Light Years Apart universe, because yeah, I'm not really, I have no idea if there's going to be like a comic or anything. Just, you know, I have a bit of a hard time, because yeah, I have all these dreams to do things, and like whether it's a comic or a TV show or a movie, yeah, it's hard, because I think I know I'm not very good at thinking big, but yeah, so I have all these alien characters and they all exist in this world, so yeah, I'm making things that look like they could be in some kind of TV show, and this is Commander Dane. She's the latest addition to this whole universe that I've done. Yeah, I like this character. I like the ideas that I've had for this character. So far, this is the only finished, like fully rendered drawing I've done of her. I mean, I've got some sketches of her in my book. Because like the sketches you're going to see later, I don't know if any of them are from my actual sketchbooks. A lot of them are just the pre-sketches. That's mostly all I've got for this video. But Dane, the idea I have for this character is she's a commander, and so she's sort of very narcissistic and cocky, and she's probably not as good at her job as she ought to be. Because she's just, she's more into appearing heroic, and she doesn't really do a lot of good stuff. She's pretty selfish, and so I think there's a lot of interesting things about this character. Like I think I do kind of enjoy the fact that a lot of the characters in this universe are heroes in their own way. And she kind of, views herself as being heroic. And the problem is, like, I've given her this kind of Iron Man style rocket suit, and there's a lot of detail in there. I mean, I suppose I wanted it to look sort of like an Iron Man type thing, but I didn't want it to be too complicated, because if you're doing anything that looks like armour, there's a lot of detail that does go into it. So yeah, it's definitely more detail than like Ema's uniform. Do I have any pictures of Ema? I don't know if I have any pictures of Ema in this one. I'm just assuming you know who Ema is. There are pictures of Ema in the background, so there are plenty of those. And yeah, so I don't know how much more we're going to see of this character. I think it would be nice if I managed to work her into some more, because I've done a lot of concept art for this whole light years apart stuff, so hopefully. Now I believe this character is named Damaris. It's another one that isn't mine, so I want to make sure I get this right. Oh, I've got to keep scrolling through Instagram. Yeah, I got drawn Damaris. Yeah, this was for Mrs. Enchilada on Instagram, also known as Ronnie A. And this was also a draw this in your style thing, so I had a go at that Ronnie's draw this in your style challenge. And yeah, this was interesting because I think the idea of Damaris is that she can travel through time, and so there are different the drawings of her in like different eras, and I'm thinking I might try and go something a bit different, like something a bit more modern if I do draw this character again, if I do another go at drawing Damaris. But yeah, this was quite an interesting project to do, and I actually did win a prize, and I have it now. I got some stickers because I requested to have some drawings of Staria made into stickers. So yeah, so that was cool. And again, yeah, I like the idea of this character being in like different time periods, and yeah, it's sort of like Doctor Who, time traveller. Now, did I can't remember if I showed you the first one of these. So this dragon is just a generic dragon. There's no name. It's just, yeah. Because this was a few months ago. I just drew like the head of this character, and I kind of stopped after I got to after I'd drawn a bit of the neck. And yeah, I don't know. Sort of put it to one side for a while, and then went back to it a few more times, and this is where I am now. And yeah, so I think this was very good practice, because like, yeah, I still haven't shared this one, because I showed the early drawing, because I had started to colour it in and even do like the shading and all of that, And I put it on Instagram asking for feedback, because I thought, before I finish it off, I don't want to know what people's thoughts are. So yeah, this is really just practice. But I think, because I've drawn a lot of dragons in the past, but it is funny how I really sometimes think that, you know, when I drew them in the past, they never seem to look quite how I wanted them to. This is a lot closer. I think I'm definitely I don't want to keep hold of this. I want this to be a reminder that I can, like, if I really put my mind to it, I can design a creature to look how I want it. Like, because I suppose a lot of dragons do look like this, but like, this is what I want. This is what I want to be able to do, really. And yeah, I just think that I like how the eye came out, like little things like that. I like the wing. I think the wing, you know, I might change that. I might I should practice dragons more. This is the thing. I want to get better at drawing dragons, so I should practice more. But yeah, I mean, like, because I just think this is more closer to the kind of thing I've always been trying to do when I draw dragons. And yeah, and yeah, so recently Julie Kitsuli had a birthday, so this is a bit of birthday art, because I know how much she likes Staria, and so here's Staria after she's baked a cake for Julie. Yeah, so I think this is like the most recent version of Julie's avatar, because she has gone through a lot of changes. So I've been trying to keep up with that, and I sort of like how cartoony this is. Like, I really tried to make the cake look as sort of floppy and sloppy as I could, and like, even the candles are kind of, they're drawn in a very cartoony way. I've made them sort of bulge out a bit more, and you know, this because I think in the past, you know, I didn't put a lot of thought into it, because like, it's funny how little things like candles, you can draw them in a like very simple way. Just make them very, like, maybe like the wax part can be very geometric, and it's just like a little line where the wick should be, and then a little blob for the flame. You can do something as simple as that. But if you wanted to, if you're drawing it in a cartoony context, then you want to show like the wax is sort of melting and it's a bit kind of squishy, and you don't want the flames to all look exactly the same. You want to, because I was trying to imply a bit of movement, so they do sort of wave about sporadically. Is that the right word? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying not to take too long with these videos. I'm finding now that even like 16 pictures takes me forever to get through. And this is Mrs. Platypus, and I think yeah, that's right. The real Siobhan on Instagram. We've been following each other for a while. We get on really well, and yeah, she has a lot of OCs, because I showed you previously my version of Time Cat. That's one of her OCs. Another time traveling cat. So yeah, I like those. And one day we were just sort of having a little chat through the DMs on Instagram, and we agreed to do an art trade, because I got her to draw Eve. Eve is a relatively new character of mine. Yeah, and she told me that Platypus Girl is a janitor who works on a spaceship. So that's really cool. I really like that idea. And yeah, it's interesting how I sort of put this together, because once again, yeah, I find that I do need to go and look at a lot of references, because I had a vague idea of what I wanted the beak to look like, but I thought I'm going to have to look up some pictures from DuckTales and things like that, because I never get it right. If I try and do it from memory, then it's just not going to look the way I want it to. So yeah, that's how I managed to pull that off. And I also looked up references for steel toe cap boots, because I wear those because I work as a janitor, and I thought, yeah, I'll look up some pictures of those kind of boots, the ones that I wear. And I think it was only after I'd drawn them, once I was colouring everything in, I thought, instead of making them black, because most steel toe cap boots are black, but for this one I just thought it would go better if they were sort of light brown, so I did light brown. And for everything else, I didn't really try very hard at all, just did stuff from memory. But yeah, I you know, didn't have an incredibly hard time drawing this one. I think because I've drawn very similar things in the past, so yeah. That's about it. That's for the digital art. Let's get on to the sketches, and I'll try not to take too long, because I'm very conscious about how much time I get. I can just ramble on for hours. And this was part of the pre-sketch of Dane, and I'll just try and do this as quickly as possible. When I first drew this, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the legs, and I think one of the reasons why I struggle so much with legs is because at first I think I know what kind of direction I have to point the legs in when I'm doing a character in a certain type of pose, and I just nearly always get it wrong. And it's amazing how I'm thinking, okay, I'm pretty sure I have to make them slant this way. Like when I'll draw the thigh, and I'll be like, so the thigh is going to be slanting this way, and the shin part was going to be like this. And then it's only when I kind of step back and look at it, I'm like, oh no, I've got that completely wrong. So I took my time with the legs, and I looked up poses, I used references, obviously. But yeah, because like, I think the difficult thing about references is you can find lots of great pose references online, but if you have a very specific idea in mind, then it's hard to use them. I mean, that to me is now, I'm starting to think this is why I need to not hold on to my initial ideas too much. I mean that's something that I think that's another video. I don't know if I will ever work that out, but yeah. So basically, yeah. Here you can see the full image, and that's what it was going to be at first. And I think at first I was like, yeah, I think that's what I'm going for. But I don't know if you remember when I showed you the finished one, I changed it about, because I made it so that a leg on our left, so house left, I decided to make that one straight, because here it's bent. So the bent leg here, I changed that to a straight leg, and I bent the other leg so that it was more sort of going inward, so that both her feet were actually very close together in the final drawing. So that's an example of how, when I'm drawing legs, I nearly always have to change my mind. I nearly always have to... Okay, this is a little example of how my drawings look without a reference and with a reference. Let me just pop the calendar somewhere else. And you can see that, yeah, I think the one on the right, the only thing I would say is that it looks pretty obvious that I copied it. Like there are imperfections there that I do think prevent it from looking natural. But this is a very good example of how it is worth looking up references, and like with animals, definitely. Like I don't think anyone really is as good at drawing animals from memory as they think they are. You have to be very special to be able to just draw animals from memory. Anyway, but this definitely tells you a lot about me. Like, one on the left shows you what ducks look like when I tried to draw them from memory. Not bad, but yeah, I don't like to settle. I really hate settling. I think that's what I do to improve, is that I just tell myself, stop saying it's good enough. And I do kind of stress myself out. I think it's a double-edged sword, because I'm telling myself I've got to improve, and that can be a good thing, but it can also make me feel really bad. So yeah, you got to be careful. You don't want to be too harsh on yourself, because as I say, I don't think the one with the reference is perfect. Let's move on. And more ducks. So this is another duck exercise. So that one down there on the left is Darkwing Duck, drawn from memory. So that was just me being like, because I think I looked at the reference that I was going to use, and I just did my best to memorize what I thought it should look like. But you can see how I got a lot of things wrong, because the one on the right is really what I was trying to do. It's with that one I was using the reference that I tried to memorize, but I do still see where imperfections are, and I think because I don't settle. I'm always dissatisfied. But again, I just think the important thing is comparing the two and being like, what was I thinking the first time round? Because those are the habits that I've got to try and drop. And this is a drawing of Ema. So I do have a drawing of Ema for this video, but she's a spider in this one. So because I think Julie, as I say, she really likes Staria, and she has a voice for her, and she'll sometimes send me these voice messages where she's in character, and it's always a lot of fun when she does this. She comes up with little skits and things, and one of them was between Ema and Staria, and it was so cool because these were my OCs. Yeah, Julie's bringing them to life. It's really, really cool when you get things like that. So she had this idea of Staria turning Ema into a spider. So I did this as a little illustration. Even the words "oh great," that's taken from the skit that Julie came up with. So yeah, I got the inspiration from listening to Julie. I did use a reference for this as well. I got a picture of a spider, because I think because I was going to say, it's funny how the most basic things can be made so much better with a reference, because spider legs don't seem like that's the kind of thing where at first I'll be like, yeah, I know how to draw spider legs, but when you actually look at a picture of a spider, then you start to think more about where the joints go and how spaced apart should they be, because you see there are very different spaces, because they're all placed at different points. And it's funny how the most basic things that we're so sure we know how to draw, it can be helped if you just get a reference. It's always worth it. You never know. It's amazing how much an improvement it makes. Now this is an unfinished sketch of Heart, and Heart is actually from the Light Years Apart universe, because here I've drawn her in her sort of hunter gear, because her home planet is like a jungle planet, and so a lot of the inhabitants of that planet are hunters, and I had this idea that she leaves her planet at one point. Ultimately, she ends up living with on the same planet as Ema and all the others, and she gets a job as a police officer, because that's where all her friends are, and so yeah. I do sort of have two versions of this character. There's the hunter version and the police officer version. I kind of like how there is a big leap between those two. So yeah, I'm hoping to finish this off actually, because I used a reference again. It's okay, don't panic. I used references, and I think this might be the last one. This was another art trade that I did with Julie. She wanted me to draw the pony sonas of herself and her boyfriend, and yeah, I think because like the black lines you see there, that's mostly what I went with, but I did tweak some things because I noticed that the horse's eye, the one that's open, looks a bit weird there. So I just decided to have him have his eyes closed. I thought if they both have their eyes closed and they both sort of look kind of mutually relaxed, because I'm trying to get them to look like they're sort of having the same emotions. I don't know, just like, yeah, I did a lot of tweaking, and it didn't look absolutely brilliant, but it was quite cute. And I went with a nice easy lighting. You know, that's one thing. I haven't got the finished one here, so I won't be able to show it to you. I'll show it to you in the next one if I remember, because I think I've got quite a lot of drawings that I can actually put into, because I always make sure that I draw way more than I need for this video. So yeah, is that it? Is that oh, there's one more. Yeah, okay, so finally we have, and the character on the left is Lena Injury, and that's one of Julie's characters. And Rita is my character, that's the one on the right. And I don't know if anyone recognises the sort of, because like I found a template online, because again this was like just a reference practice. Yeah, I'm using lots of references. Yeah, and basically I found a template that I thought, yeah, I can see our characters doing this, because like Lena and Rita are kind of in a relationship, and I'm trying to get better at drawing characters hugging, so yeah, I thought I'd make that part of the practice. And yeah, so I can't remember the artist who did the template, so sorry about that, but some of you might recognise it. I don't know if you've used it before. I think this artist does a lot of sort of reference drawings for people, and yeah, so while I was drawing them, I started to come up with ideas, because I felt like it looked as though I was drawing Rita being overprotective, and I started to have ideas like maybe something happened to Lena, and Lena doesn't think it's a big deal, like it might have been a moment where her life might have been in danger, maybe, but Lena doesn't really see it that way. It's like I nearly had an accident or something, and now Rita is really worried about this, and she's like, oh, but I don't want anything to happen to you, and so she's being overprotective, overdramatic, and Lena's just trying to have her breakfast in this picture. And yeah, so I think even though, because I think mostly because I've done this from a template, I'm probably not going to do anything any more with it. I think I'm just going to leave it as a little practice thing, and I won't take credit for the poses of these characters, or like those expressions. But it's just because I'm trying to get better at drawing characters like this, so this is just purely a practice thing. But I think it's funny how I came up with an idea for a story while I was drawing it, and that is an example of how your own inspiration can inspire you. You know, like your own ideas can give you more ideas. You get inspiration from inspiration. That's it. That's all I'm going to say now. I think this is yep, 35 minutes. That's pretty good. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this. Do take care, And I am off to the pub.